Welcome back to Morning Break. The pandemic has raised a lot of mental health awareness questions over the year, and with the schools now going virtual again and new COVID variants causing a surge in cases, children are also being affected one way or another. Licensed professional counselor Jayson Rodriguez is joining us here in the studio this morning to tell us how we can protect children's mental health during the pandemic and the new year. Good morning, Jayson. We were talking about this just kind of off the top of the show. I mentioned I've got two young children, one that just started daycare today, another one that's going back because they've been out for 2 weeks. So we're kind of dealing with this. This is something that has become the norm for so many young children, the disruption in their schedules. Let's start right there. What is the best way to handle something like this?
Well, I mean, the best way for families to understand how to handle disruptions with schedules and things like that is to understand that your home can't be the same as it was before the pandemic. Sometimes when your kids are at home, you need to be able to have a little bit of time to structure your house so that fits with you being at home and with them being at home during the school day. And
we've got a lot of different kids who have gone through, let's say, different things, you know, through the pandemic, whether it be a family member is out of work, they're at home, and you've got to answer those questions and deal with that. And as we go in with the schools and things like that with them, virtual learning, sometimes it's a different parent at home, it's a different way of learning for the students. But they're adapting to this, I guess, is the
a lot of kids adapt really well to it, some don't. And I think sometimes as a parent, you have to be able to kind of read how well your kiddo is doing. Sometimes it's hard because you're bouncing back from, hey, I have a Zoom meeting, you're going to be on school with your teacher, and sometimes a teacher can't catch whenever a kiddo is struggling with a certain topic or something like that. And so one of the biggest things that a parent can do is really kind of focus and ask questions, be thoughtful about like how your kid is doing, look for changes in behavior and feelings and affect and emotion, and try to see where they are and consistently check in with them.
What are some of the things that you can look out for as far as the changes in behavior?
Yeah, so changes in behavior would be changes in mood. So if they try to isolate themselves, if they get easily angered, or if suddenly they decide, I don't want to do work or anything like that, which can be difficult. So parents need to be able to kind of talk to their teachers and stay in contact with schools so that they can check in with how they're doing with the schoolwork.
What about socializing and adapting to this? Because my son is 2 years old, or about to turn 2, so he really has known no other life than life during the pandemic. Trying to adjust and be able to socialize, are we looking at kids who are going to have some issues down the road, or what can we do now to prevent that?
Right, and school isn't just for academics, it's for social development, it's for athletic development, enrichment, clubs and things like that. And whenever kids have to be isolated in the homes, they lose all of that. And so in some way the parents have to take on a little bit of an extra burden to make sure that they stay in contact with their friends, have social outlets, they continue to play sports and different activities and music and things of that nature. And so, you know, parents, like that job is difficult, you know, but it's just become a little bit more difficult because you just have to continue to kind of check in and work, and the stuff that the school used to coordinate, you might have to take on a little bit more over the next however long this pandemic thing lasts.
I'm reading here, incorporate brain breaks. Explain brain breaks.
Brain breaks, yeah. So brain breaks are important because, you know, the cadence and the patterns of schooling at home can be different from school at the school setting, you know. So kind of feel out how your kid does, how long do they last in regards to like optimal like work time. And so like, let's say your kiddo can work 20 minutes before they start getting antsy and start looking out the window or fidgeting and things like that. Incorporate actual like structured time to take a 5-minute break, like, you know, do some stretches, walk around the block, help make a snack to kind of get their eyes adjusted back to the real world and away from their screen.
This has been a big topic, a big part of the conversation throughout the pandemic. So I'm going to ask you this, grade us. How have we done? Because we've been putting a lot of these things in place over the last 1.5 to 2 years. As a society, how are we doing with our children?
I mean, I would say we're at about a B. We could always get better. I think that right at the beginning, all of us are kind of scrambling and trying to figure out, hey, what are best practices? What can we best do? Some folks didn't have the necessary technology to make sure that they're able to get their kids on the computer to do schoolwork. And so I think that we're slowly catching up with that over the past couple years. And there's still a little bit of work to be done to kind of get to the point where kids are succeeding academically and socially and developing as quickly as they were when they were going to school physically.
Yeah, the challenges are still out there. Jayson Rodriguez, thank you so much for joining us today here on Morning Break. All right, coming up, NASA's newest telescope is at its final destination in space. More on what the telescope will tell us as